guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. It is like 93 degrees today here in Huntington, Long Island, New York. The humidity is like 100%. It's the kind of humidity where you open your door and woof, it hits you in the face. That you can cut the humidity with your hand. It's that kind of pressure, you know? Don't know how long I'm going to be able to last outside here in my garage. I might have to go bare-chested, so beware. This is a Honda quadra-cut system lawnmower, rear self-propelled with caster wheels. I personally have never worked on a Honda with the caster wheels. I've done a couple of John Deere ones that are very similar, but I got this from Pete Lombardi. The model number is HRZ216TDA, just for your records. This thing has 6 cables. 2 of the cables go to one lever, and they go into the caster wheel lock position. Honestly, I don't know why anybody would do that, you know? I mean, you'd be making this a regular mower if you just locked the steering, you know what I'm saying? It turns a zero-turn style into a regular lawnmower. They've never worked right anyway, you know, because you'd have to align the wheel to be straight before you engage that one. And since that goes to the same lever, you'd have to wait and measure and make sure you have both wheels going exactly straight to engage that thing to lock so you can go straight. I'm inclined to just remove the cables altogether and not complicate things, you know what I mean? What's wrong with this thing is, A, there's no engine, right? There's also spray paint, white spray paint all around it. Another thing is the rear wheels, while they roll forward by clicking, you hear it, right? It's locked when you go back. When I pull the drive engagement handle, right, it's seized. The cable doesn't move inside. Therefore, I think it's permanently seized in the engaged position. So that's why the wheels spin forward, but it won't go back. So I'm thinking I was going to just take the transmission out and just have it freewheel, so this would be a zero-turn push mower. But I have a feeling that the reason why it's locked like that is because the cable is seized from it being outside and the rust in the cable and stuff. Because when you pull the handle, like I said, the wire doesn't move. It's seized inside the cable. So I'm going to open up the bottom here. I'm going to tip it over on its side, take the panel off, and see if I could free that thing up and see whether or not the transmission actually works, you know. If it works, I'll try to get it going. If it doesn't, then I'll just hollow out the gearbox, you know, take the gears out so that it's just a push mower. That's the engine that came with it, I believe. That's what Pete said. And he says it runs. Sure, it runs. I don't have the engine mounting bolts with it. And I know the Japanese use 10mm for most of their stuff, 12mm for the wheels, and like 14mm for other stuff. So I don't know if I have 14mm engine bolts. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of going to be difficult to find. You know, that'll match the thread of the engine. So I think I might have some Honda wheels for the rear like that. Because those wheels, if I get the transmission going, you're going to need some decent wheels to power the propulsion, you know? And if the transmission works, I'd have to replace those wheels somehow with better tread. But we'll see what happens, and I'd have to clean up that deck too. So I'm going to flip this over on its side and inspect the transmission. So as you can see, these 2 bolts here are connected to this round ring, and it's loose. So it's no need to take this and this out. This just holds the ring. I don't see any other bolts anywhere here holding this on there. But then I felt inside, and it felt like there was a bolt over here, and I feel it right there. But this mulch plug is blocking it. So I'm going to take the mulch plug out to access. There's the mulch plug. To access this area here where I do feel a bolt. Only one bolt. And of course, this is a 10mm bit. And it doesn't fit, which means it's not a 10mm. Either it is a 10mm, it is 10mm. It's just that it's so rusted that it won't fit. So that's going to be a pain to get off. So I'm going to have to find a 10mm wrench to try to get that off. Got a couple of 10mm wrenches. One's made by Craftsman, the other one's made by another manufacturer. This fits. Oh man. Strippaged. Yeah, I don't think that's going to come off. I'm going to flip this in another direction so I can see it better. So I flipped it on the other side. Now you can see the nut. Or can you? Yeah. It's right there. So check this out. I just got this yesterday from my friends over at ProPartsDirect.net. He sent me this. It's called ZEP Twister Ultra. Twists off rusted nuts and bolts like a prairie tornado. Just a type of penetrating oil, but this is made for getting off exactly that. So let's see. Generous squirts, not one squirt, several squirts. Let's sit for a bit. Okay, so actually now that I flipped it over on this side, I actually could fit my impact on here. So after that ZEP stuff, let's see if it works. Yes, look at that. Came right off. So far, so good. Let's see if this damn thing comes off. Oh, that comes off. But there's one here. I didn't need to remove that at all because it's that's not the bolt that needs to. I didn't even ZEP that one. I ZEP'd the wrong one. Here, I'm going to ZEP the right one now. Oh, I don't need to take that off. Put this back on. You can't see that one too well. Okay. Now let's see if it turns. I gotta get a hammer so you can mimic the impact. If you can't get an impact in there, you mimic an impact. You mimic an impact with a hammer. Looks like it works. Or stripped. Looks like it's stripped. Yep, stripped. Great. This is fantastic. Stripped. Alright. I bet you guys are going to say something, right? Henry, you were tightening it, not loosening it. And that's true. I stripped it because I was tightening it, not loosening it. You know, when you flip stuff around, you get confused. Anyway, check this out. Just use this monkey wrench type vice grip wrench. Turning it the right way now, and it's off. Guess that ZEP really does work. Wasn't too bad. So this should be the only screw. I don't see any else. You ready? Well, I see. You see? I see. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any bolts holding this damn thing. Except for this one here. Good luck getting that one out, man. Hello. Get out of here. I'm never going to get that one off. How about that? I took the impact and I went in here, and there was another bolt holding it together. Right there. There's a nut on there. 10 millimeter. It came off. So that's what it looks like on the inside. Pretty cool. Let's see. So there's two cables that go in here. I'm feeling this one on the bottom here, and there's no movement in the It's so difficult to get in there, man. So difficult. And look, there's a spring here that's not connected to anything. Nah, I don't even know where I pulled it off from now. I think that's the wall. But this is supposed to hook on to something, and I don't know what it hooks up to, you know? Okay, I'm going to see what wire goes to what. The drive engagement cable is the one that doesn't move. So I'm pulling that wire and it traces to this one right here. This is the one that doesn't move. So I'm going to try to remove this cable from here. So I just loosened up the cable by just pulling it back and forth. Now watch, I'm going to go depress the handle for the drive engagement. I think it moved, right? So that moved, and I also found out that this spring here just holds that, see? So that it gives it tension of snapping this back. Now, the rear wheels still don't spin, though. They go forward, but it's locked going backwards, see? So look, I'm going to work on the engine now, putting the engine on here, and we could always access this later when we figure out why it doesn't spin, you know. So you know what I'm going to do, guys? Instead of me messing with this engine and putting it on, because I'm not 100% sure this works, right? Pete Lombardi says it works, but I still need to find engine mounting bolts, right? So look at that engine really carefully, right? And look at this one. You guys remember this one, right? This is the one where we JB welded the corner there. Well, it didn't hold. I just rolled it around my yard and it fell right off. But anyway, this is the same exact engine, and we know this one works. How do we know it works? Well, you know what? Let's just try it. No choke on this thing. This engine works great. It's got working cables, air cleaner assembly, everything. It's got the blades on the bottom, and it's got, what's more important than anything else, we've got the proper engine mounting bolts on there. So I'm just gonna, I mean, this deck is trash, right? And I have to take that engine off anyway eventually, right? So I'm just gonna take this engine and put it on that deck. So there we go. And like I said, it takes only millimeters, so the blade bolt is a 14 millimeter. So got a 14 millimeter socket on here, and this is the blade bolt, and it fits perfectly. That's the clutch system they got. It's a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. But you don't really need that clutch for the other one. I'm just going to put the, I don't know if I can do that actually. I'm just going to put the blade right on here without the clutch. Get all this stuff off. And it looks like there are 4 engine bolts. Everybody's commenting saying, hey Henry, on push mowers there's only 3 engine bolts. I mean, I've had 4 engine bolts for the longest time, you know. What a surprise, 4 engine bolts. That's crazy or what? Hey Henry, I've never seen one with 4 engine bolts. There you go. You see one today. My mistake, that's not an engine bolt. Okay, you guys are right. My bad. 3. That's got spacer. It's got a spacer. And this should be the last one. And yet the engine is not loose. Preposterous. Why are Hondas so difficult? Why do they overthink things? Everything's so complicated with Hondas. There's thousands of things you got to remove just to get it off. I guess that's why it's so damn expensive, because the labor is probably insanity. I have to get that damn thing off. So hard to take the engine off, man. So I've been messing with this for some time. Okay, so there are 3 dedicated engine bolts that hold the engine on. There's also 1, 2, 3, 4, Actually, this one does have 4 engine bolts. Crazy. One, just won't come off. Can you believe that? I can't find the damn thing. I'm going to lose my mind. Kudos to all you Honda techs, because I don't know how you can possibly tolerate it, okay? I've been just wiggling this thing like you wouldn't believe, and the engine will not come off. It's just like something's grabbing it, you know? It's driving me absolutely bonkers. I'm gonna kill myself in 2 seconds. I might have to just cut that damn belt. Sons of bitches. Alright, that's it. Every damn bolt wiggling, the belt is off. You still want to fight me, right? Look at this. Look at that. How did you even get the belt through there? Unbelievable, man. How did you get the belt in there? Damn it. Damn it to hell. Why? Why so complicated? Oh, man, you can't even see in there. How did you get the belt in there? Incredible. Unbelievable. So while I could just cut the belt, right, or take all the rear apart to find out where it leads to and get across the pulley and the guides, I was studying this area, and you just need to compress this area and get that belt out of the way. So here, I'm compressing it with this. See the belt here? That thing comes off. Now you let go of it. And then this thing comes off. And now the belt comes off. Son of a gun! And I think now the engine is free. Engine's free, but it's attached to the cables. Holy cow. You definitely need a lot of patience to work with Hondas in 93-degree weather. So since I'm not using the clutch system with this machine, I'm just going to simply put the blade on here with the pulley and just go. I hope. So I'm going to disconnect this. This is the clutch bracket. And that loosens the clutch engagement PTO cable. And now I can, loosen this one. But then I'd have to match it up perfectly with the other style cable. Sometimes you are in the middle of this and you're like, is this even worth all this trouble that I'm doing right now? And then you're like, well, how else are you going to learn if you don't do it, right? So I always jot it down as learning. And if you don't try, you're not going to be able to do it. So I don't give up. I just keep doing it. I don't care if it takes forever to do it. I'm just going to do it. So now, as you can see, engine is finally off. I'm going to take that bracket off too, because I'm not going to need it. This thing right here. Hey, I might sell it on eBay. I bet you it's worth some money. There we go. As you see, these are the pads that grip onto the clutch. Kind of cool. But I just need the engine with that. Putting on the other deck is another thing. Finally, this damn thing is free. I'm going to compare that engine with the other engine. There are the two engines next to each other. Actually, they're not exactly the same. They look a little different. Let me measure the crankshaft. So this crankshaft is on the bottom. It's about 2.5. Well, this has the adapter on it, so 3.5. It's a whole inch difference, but this one doesn't have the adapter on there yet, you know. Okay, gonna put this engine on. Looks like the holes match up, and it also looks like it's 4 engine bolts. So guess what? This engine actually doesn't fit on this deck. Can you believe that? The holes don't match up. Only 2 of the holes match up. So it looks like I'm gonna have to go back to this engine, because I think this engine was the one that was off of that deck. Problem with that is the pulley's kind of bent from somebody trying to remove the adapter, so it's bent. Can't have it bent. I'm gonna have to kind of knock it into place here. There we go. Alright. This part here is bent. Okay, I guess I'll put this motor in. Engine. Hope this fits. Hope this works. I don't know if this works. People in Barty says it works, but I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Just took off the 2 bolts that was holding this. This engine right there. I wonder what that hole is for. For the oil? It can't be. How do you do an oil change on this? It looks like it fits now. Put the bolts in. So I just gotta bust the balls of a bunch of guys that commented on my last video where I said, oh wow, there's only 3 engine bolts on a push mower, and they're like, what are you talking about? I've been doing small engines for 60 years of my life. I've never seen a push mower with 4 mounting bolts. Well, today's your lucky day, guy. Right here. Honda. Push mower. 1, 2, 3, all 4 engine mounting bolts. How about that? Isn't that a coincidence? When I've said that I've never seen a 3-bolt one, you guys say they're all 4 bolts? I mean, they're all 3 bolts? Really? Well, this one's 4 bolts. How about that? What a coincidence. I just get a mower that has 4? Amazing. Honestly. 60 years! 60 years! I've never seen it! Wow! Aren't you lucky you know me then? 'Cause today you got to see a push mower with 4 engine mounting bolts. Aren't you lucky? I'm going to try to use the blades from the other one. Hey Henry, I've never seen 2 blades before underneath the mower. Hey Henry, I've never seen 2 blade mounting bolts. Alright, I know, I'm just being a dick now. I don't know if this will fit. It's kind of bent. Yeah, that doesn't fit. That's strange. This is a whole different system here. I gotta go find the right blades. So I just secured the blades onto the adapter and the crankshaft, so I think we're done with that part finally. So now I'm going to connect the throttle cable. This is it right here. Okay, it's a Z-bend. Just take the Z-bend, stick it in this hole over here. Right. Easy for you to say, Henry. Right, now you got this part here that goes in there. Push that in. Push it to full throttle so it pulls it like that, right, all the way, so it can't go anymore. And then you tighten the screw. So now it's at full choke actually. Oh, that didn't even hold on, see? It's no good. It's no good. be flipped upside down. There you go. See how that works? As you can see from this, the brake cable is trash. So I'm going to have to try to find a brake cable for this, because like I said, it's trash. I don't know how I'm going to do that because this is part of this assembly here. It's different. So during that time, I realized that the blade adapter is not smooth. Like somebody tried to remove the blade adapter and it won't come off. It's fused to the crankshaft. And so it's kind of bent up, right? So when I put the blades back on, not that it wobbles, but you can't tighten them both because it'll bend like that, right? So I actually started this up. One pull. The carburetor needs attention because it surges, right? And the idle is not very fast. So the carburetor needs to be gone through, which is expected because I didn't know whether... I mean, the engine runs. One pull, right? But it doesn't run right, you know? The brake kill switch cable was bad on the other one. I actually had an old Honda handle with all the cables on there from 2 years ago or something in my shed. So even though it's kind of short, right, it works. So I've got the brake cable sorted out. I've got the throttle cable sorted out. We need to go over the carburetor. But what I want to do is I want to straighten the blade adapter. And the only way for me to do that is flip this on its side, take the blade back off again, and since the blade adapter won't come off, I'm going to use a big adjustable wrench, you know, a long one. Put it on that thing and just like manually bend it straight, you know, so that I can put the blades on nice and tight and it'll be straight, not bent, you know. Another thing is I'm thinking about taking these cables off to lock for the locking of the caster wheels. I've read in all kinds of forums and stuff that these things never work right. You have to get it just perfectly and then get it to lock, and I don't even know if I really want it to lock straight anyway. It defeats the purpose of having a zero-turn caster wheel option anyway. But I can't get this off, and there's no holes, there's no holes, there's no screws. I don't know how this is attached on there, you know? So I want to try to take these cables off eventually, right? I need to replace the tires. They're like bald, you know? And also we need to address why this thing doesn't roll backwards. I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and Bruce Pender had a good one, and Double White 6 had a complete transmission refurbish, which is a lot of work. I mean, I've been working on this thing for like 3 days now, and I'm not surprised because that's what you get when you get a Honda. I've never had good luck with Hondas, and this is no exception. This requires a lot of work to get it running, but once this gets going, I'll be pretty happy because this is pretty cool. You know, it's these are rare. You know, you don't see too many with the caster wheels on here. I think it's commercial grade, which is pretty cool. You know, I like it. You know, also I used. I'll tell you in a minute, but a good thing about this is that the bagger from that one fits this one. So now this has got a bagger, which is great. I want to show you something about the white spray paint that somebody sprayed on there. So I don't know if you can see very well, but somebody had sprayed white spray paint all over the deck, right? And so I used brake parts cleaner from my friends at Lucas Oil, right? And as you guys know, brake cleaner takes off paint. However, if you leave it on there too long, it'll take off the original gray paint, but I just want to get the white paint off. So watch this. Look at that. Just from the stream, it's getting it off. See that? But I want to wipe it off really quick because it'll settle there and soak into the gray paint and take it off. So I've already done like the other parts of the mower, but you have to wipe it off quick, otherwise it'll take off the gray paint, which I don't want. So while I was gonna repaint this whole thing, right, I figured I'd try the brake cleaner, and it seems to work really well to take off the white, right, and then I'll just like polish the gray paint instead of repainting the whole thing, you know. You see that? That looks pretty good. There's a small area here with some spray on it. That comes off pretty well. But you got to do it like right after you spray it, you know. I don't know. I still may just, you know, go over it with gray, but we'll work on that later. But number one is I got to make sure the blade adapter is straight. I'm taking the blades off now. Because this adapter is pointed inwards like that, because it's bent, right? The blades are kind of, if you tighten it, the blades are kind of bent in like that, like a smiley face, you know. And one is a little bit higher than the other one, so therefore it's going to have a little bit of a vibration, which you really can't have. I have to hold the other nut. So I got the blade off, and you can see from this, or maybe you can't see too well, but the blade adapter, this part here goes in, this part here goes in. So I'm going to try to pull it out. I thought maybe putting the blades on there and tighten them really tight would allow them to straighten out. It straightened out a little, but not perfect. So I've got this massive wrench, right? And I'm just going to grip it there without hurting myself, just kind of like pull it out, you know. Maybe leverage would be better if I did it from the top to the bottom. It's working slightly. Just going to bend it out as much as I can. Yeah, it works. You get better leverage with a longer wrench, you know what I mean? The longer it is, the easier it is for you. It's much better already. That's pretty good. This part here still needs a little bit more. Hell, why not? Gotta get it done, gotta do it right. Pretty cool. I didn't think it would be that easy, actually. Nice. This is straight right here. See? That's straight, man. Oh, crap. See, when you rotate this, the crankshaft, right, with it on its side like that, you're going to have a gurgling of oil that's moving around, and it might just grip out the carburetor. As you can see here, this is bent. It's like this. You want to make it straight like that. little bit at a time. Look at that. That's pretty good, man. I didn't think I would get it that straight. Nice. I didn't expect this, you know, when you're working on a Honda, expect a long project. Nothing's easy with a Honda. I mean, they just make things so damn complicated, but I mean, they're good mowers though, you know, smooth and all that stuff. Yeah, that's straight, man. That's cool. So I'll put the blades back on. I do want to talk to you about the transmission. So the reason, what I've been reading is that the reason why a notorious problem for the Honda is that, you know, the ratchet gear that's in here, right? Sometimes people go have it serviced and they don't put it in right, but this is not the case. It's supposed to click going forward, but it's supposed to go backwards. So they're notorious for it not going backwards again. I've seen like 3 or 4 videos on it. Is that there's a plastic, I don't know, shaft cover, if you will, and basically over time, it grips onto the transaxle. And what people do is they take the wheel off, they take like a million washers and snap rings on there off, right? And they actually take the whole transmission out, which is a pain in the balls, all right? And what they do is they take some sandpaper and they smooth out the shaft. Then they lube that area really well and put that plastic sleeve back over it, and then it'll roll backwards. That's a lot of work though, you know, lots of work to take that damn transmission out. I mean, and I don't even know if this transmission works. As a matter of fact, since I have this on its side like that, I'm going to try a bunch of belts and see if they fit onto the back pulley, onto the crankshaft pulley. I have a bunch of belts here. They're all 3/8 size. I was just watching the U.S. beat the Netherlands in the Women's World Cup. I've been a big fan of the Women's World Cup. This is too short, as you can see. My next door neighbor, his name's Andy. He's British. He's from England, you know. Our friends over across the pond. Anyway, he's one of those arrogant guys, but you know, he's okay. Anyhow, I was giving him a little bit of crap the other day when I was walking Boba. I said, "Oh, sorry about England, man. You know, we beat you pretty good, you know, and now you're out. I guess you'll be playing for 3rd place versus Sweden." And he's like, F you, I'll bet you $200 that the Netherlands beats you in the World Cup. Of course, I didn't take the bet, you know. I should have. It would have been $200 richer. If the bloke ever paid me. You know, some people, they make bets and stuff and they don't pay you back, you know. I mean, they don't pay up. You always, I don't care how rich or poor you are, you make a bet with somebody, you have to honor the bet. You have to pay back the debt, no matter what. Otherwise, don't bet. You know what I'm saying? Well, see the gurgling. Hey, you know what? This one fits, man. It's not supposed to be tight right now. It's only supposed to be tight when you engage that thing. And basically, when you pull it. That is sort of like that. You know what? I'm going to try this one. That spring fell off. This spring right over here. I'm going to try to connect the spring back in there. Like a little notch there. And you hook it onto the hole. And then you... That should be the other side. You have to feel for it because you can't see it. Okay, so it's on that hook, and you push this in. Can't really see that either. Oh man, just to get the spring on there, it's difficult. Really difficult. Because it's under tension, you know. I'm going to screw with it. You guys don't have to watch me screw with it. Well, that was a pain, but got it on there. You see that spring there? It's hooked onto the wall with this loop right on the wall, right? And then it's got to go around this lever here, this gold thing. It's got a clip on there. So I just used like some pliers and I grabbed that side and I pulled it until it hooked onto this. I don't know why I did that now, because I eventually have to take the damn transmission out anyway. But I guess I wanted to see whether or not the self-propulsion works, you know. Gotta see. So I'm gonna give it another try. I'm gonna start it up and see if it vibrates a lot. As you could see, some Earl came out. It's normal when you have it on its side. I'll try and start it now. Maybe it has no gas in it. Runs well on choke. So the self-propulsion doesn't seem to work at all. Like, I engaged it, right, and I even pulled it from over here just to tighten it a lot more, and nothing. But the vibration is much better now, much better. But it surges when you take it off choke, so I think the carburetor needs to be cleaned. Just to try something else, I'm going to tighten the cable for the drive just a little bit. And how you do that is just pull it tighter. So if you look at this right here, right there, I just loosened it so it pulls it closer. So that's actually loosening it, right? You want to pull it tighter. That's too much. Right around there. So that it pulls a lot. Okay, so that's going to be far more tighter than before. Oh yeah, that's going to be pulling the drive cable very tight. So now when I pull it, drive cable will be pulled almost to its end. As soon as you see the spring flex, you know that it's pulling to the end where you can't pull no more. Sorry, anymore. Hey guys, support my channel, buy a sticker. Also follow me on Instagram at Mowers Blowers. Check out my website, mowersblowers.com. See you guys on my next project. Have a great day.